Welcome, and thank you for joining me for part two of all that thing. Yeah, updates. Alright, let's get into it and yeah. Now, the other weird thing about this, can you hear that clicking? Yeah, a relay is firing somewhere. Where? I don't know. But yeah, another view of the inside. Very nice, very nice. All right. Good stuff. Oh yeah, 136,148 miles on this. So yeah, it's low mileage, high mileage, I don't know. This is the first Land Rover that I'm taking on this nature. And I've worked on a few of these before, but it's been like minor stuff. So this is actually a deep dive. Now, am I nervous about it? No, because I've done similar stuff like this before on other vehicles. And that's the one thing you should keep in mind, is the fact of just because it's got a fancy brand on it, it's still just an engine. Yeah, they put a whole bunch of other crap on, a lot of sensors, a lot of computers, all of that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just an engine. All the electrical stuff you can work around. Deletus Maximus, maybe? No, don't remember. Anyway, yeah, let's get to this. So just after I turned the camera off, I went through and actually noticed something. So you hear that ticking. Now, if you notice, it's keeping perfect beat with that red light. Maybe a transmission issue as well. I don't know. We'll do a deep dive. Because like I said, for the oil leak, we'll start with the nut and bolt check. So to get access to the front of the vehicle, these all need to come out. And then this will lift up. It's just me. So as a result, I won't be able to record. I'm just telling you, once you have these, this is actually flexible. You pop it out of its little home here. And then voila, this comes off, and then we will snake our tool down to pop the fan clutch off with the fan, and then yeah, good times. Now the one thing to note is this fan shroud is actually two pieces, so I can take that bolt out, and somebody's already taken the liberty of removing that bolt. Yep, that's gone. Then the top of this can come off, and then once you release the fan from the water pump, then you can go through and just lift that out and then pull the bottom out. Good stuff. I'll show you what that looks like when it's all done. Okay, so this is what that area is going to look like once you open it up. Okay, ooh, shiny. Anyway, so as you can tell, you may not be able to tell, but this entire area is soaked with oil. Now, this isn't a small oil leak. And when I say it isn't a small oil leak, we did a diagnostic little run because the vehicle was delivered to my son. So, hang on a second, let me get you flipped around. So the vehicle was delivered to my son, okay? The guy he bought it from was very adamant. No, I'll deliver it to you. So we didn't realize the significance of the oil leak until we did our little test run. Test run consisted of driving to Largo to Florida, or Largo to Florida. Largo is in Florida. I'm not awake yet. I need more coffee. Largo to Tampa, which is about 20 miles. Within that 20 miles, this thing had puked out all 5 quarts of its oil in a 20-minute drive, or a 20-mile drive at 65 miles an hour. So to say that it's a minor oil leak is a gross misunderstatement. So, but it is coming from the front of the engine. So typically that is, hang on, gotta flip you around again. That is the front main seal, which is the norm. Normally it is the front main seal. But before I go through the trouble of yanking everything off to get to the front main seal, I want to make sure that there's not something else underlying. The spray pattern is very distinct, so that's why I'm doing the nut and bolt check first. Not that I don't want to tear into it, it's just if I don't have to break a seal yet, I don't want to. So that's why we're kind of taking this approach. MicroGuard oil filter. Anyway, so yeah, on to the next one. Also, to point out, these are the tools that you're going to need: a 36 millimeter fan clutch wrench and a pulley holder. Now, the downside to it is this is actually with these tools, this is a 2-person job because there's not enough room for you to squeeze both those wrenches in that little spot, or at least I was not successfully able to do so. But if you've got somebody to help you, you can take that one on the bottom, have them hold that, and then take that one on the top and just break it free, and voila, easy peasy. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but right around where that oil cooler line would be, if this had an external oil cooler, there's an oil leader. There shouldn't be oil there. Let's take a look. Remember how I said that if you thought it was silly to go back and double check something that somebody else had done, and I said go to your room till you stop being naive? This is one. Okay, so this is going to be horrible, but remember how I said whenever you take on a project and somebody says, hey, this is what's going on with it, I just got it back from the shop and now I'm selling it, and I went through and I made the comment, make sure to go through and double check everything before you go into a deep dive. Hang on, let me see if I can do this. So that is a crank bully pull. I have not been down here yet. I should not be able to pull this bolt out by my hand. Yeah, always double check. Sorry for my finger being in the way. Alrighty, let me get that torque down to spec, which for the record is 200 foot-pounds. This ought to be fun. I only weigh 185. Okay, let me get you out of here. Okay, so now I'm off to make a tool run. So just as a heads up, 90% of everything that you're ever going to do, sorry, I'm driving while I'm doing this. It's hands-free. Anyway, 90% of what you can do or what you need to do for a vehicle, you can go through and do with a basic mechanics handset. You don't need to go down and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars initially. As your projects progress, you're going to run across situations where you need certain tools because, well, you need them. You have two options. You can either rent them, just like I said earlier in the video. You can go through, rent it, they charge you full price, use the tool, return the tool, get your money back. Or option number two, if it looks like you're going to have the vehicle for a while, I would encourage you just to buy the tool. No, you don't have to go to Snap-on or Matco or any of those. Most of my tools that you've seen come from Harbor Freight. The ones that don't come from Harbor Freight, AutoZone is where I got the two tools that were showcased earlier that I used to get the fan clutch off. So another point of interest is that crank bolt. That crank bolt is a one-time use only bolt. It is known as torque to yield, meaning you get to use it once, you torque it down, and then that's it. It is strongly discouraged using it again. Do I think that bolt was new when the last service? Probably not. But to test the theory, I can go through, torque that down, because come to find out, I had made a comment earlier in the video that it was supposed to be 200 foot-pounds. No, it's supposed to be 360. But I can take it, the max I can put on it is 250 because that's the biggest torque wrench I've got, which is still 110 pounds less than what it should be. That is a tool that I'm going to have to save up for, because for a torque wrench to go that high, yeah. And again, I could just rent it and return it and be done with it, but I suspect that my son is going to hold on to this for a while, and it'd probably be a good idea for me to have that tool at my disposal. So, do I recommend reusing your crank bolt? No, absolutely not. Will you see me do it in this video for the purposes of testing? Yeah, because if that's where the leak is coming from, and I suspect it is, because again, the guy was told, the person who sold my son the Land Rover made the comment, it went to service and then they decided to get rid of it. So it's quite possible that it went in for main seal, because main seals on those need to be replaced about every 60,000 miles is when a Land Rover's front main seal is supposed to be replaced. It's a wearable item. It's normal. Downside to it is if you take it to a shop, that's about a $1,400 repair. I don't have $1,400. Most people don't have $1,400. So as a result, they go through and they're just, yeah. You can do any repair yourself cheaper, okay? You go and do an oil change at one of these quick change places, you're looking easily at $100, $125 if you don't have a coupon. The car that I'm currently driving is Miss Mez's car, and it's modern. It is. It's a modern. It's a 2018. Her oil change would run her about $125 if she didn't have a coupon. Miss Mez is very frugal, and she is very much on finding deals, which I appreciate. And I took over doing her oil changes when we got together. I spend $40 to do her oil change. That's oil, filter, air filter, and if need be, even wiper blades. So yeah, it can be kind of intimidating to do your own maintenance. Trust me, you will save tens of thousands of dollars over the course of your lifetime with that vehicle if you just do it yourself. So I'll go through, get back to the house, because again, I had to make a tool run. I'm not making parts runs yet. It's just tool runs because I need tools. There are certain tools I don't have that to service this vehicle, I need those tools. So as a result, anyway, so let me get done doing that and I'll be back with you. It's a new day and a new week. And as you can tell, it looks different. Okay, so in my last segment, I went through and said that I was just at the point of doing tool runs. Well, unfortunately now I'm waiting on parts. So yeah, the belt drive system in this is totally lost. So that's got to get replaced. The bolt for the harmonic balancer or the crank pulley, that is $41 a piece, and it's a dealer only item, so now I'm waiting on that to come from England because it's special order. It has to come in from England. Sad pandas. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and we will go through and you will see this thing again probably next week. Alrighty, talk to you guys later. Bye.